Did you just get your insurance license and you're looking for an insurance opportunity and you're just overwhelmed, right? Everyone is promising you the world. You might be in some Facebook groups. You might be talking to your friends, some family members. It's just completely telling you basically what you want to hear. And you're completely confused because your idea of being an insurance agent probably is a lot different than what a lot of these people are selling you. Get rich quick ideas. So today I'm going to go through some key factors to help you make a decision and give you some insider tips, some things that I've learned. My name is David Price. I got my insurance license in 2018. Within 36 months of having my insurance license, I was able to put $1 million in my bank account. That's not $1 million in production, that's $1 million in cash. My fourth full year, I made $1.1 million. The next year, 1.5, and it continued to go up from there. I've been a producer, I've been an agency owner, and now I'm an IMO owner. So I help lots and lots of people be successful agents, but also successful agency owners and successful businesses. Now, I say all that, and that's a lot of great things. That's a highlight reel, but I've also had some bumps and bruises in the industry. My first 6 months in the industry, I only made about $30,000. The next 12 months, I made over $200,000. So things can change really, really fast. Made a lot of mistakes on choosing an opportunity, and also learned a lot from choosing certain opportunities. So I'm gonna go through, help you cut through the noise, try to give you the best unbiased information that I can give you on choosing the right opportunity. So there's some key factors to definitely consider. To me, the biggest one out of all of them is mentorship, right? And let's talk about that for a little bit. If Warren Buffett reached out to me today, remember guys, I'm a millionaire, right? And I'm not saying that to brag, I'm just want to let you know. If Warren Buffett reached out to me today and offered me a job, but told me I had to work for him for free, and I get to work at his office 40 hours a week, I would do it, right? Why would I do that? Why would I work for free? Because I would work for the knowledge, I work for the mentorship, because I want to know what Warren Buffett knows, right? Warren Buffett is definitely the most successful investor alive, and I think he's in his 90s now, right? So he's definitely has a lot of data, right? Like the guy's just been doing it for so long. He has a lot of experience was the word I was looking for, right? So when I'm looking for a mentor, right, that's what I'm thinking. Like the other things are important, right? The comp and the carrier and captive, not captive, and renewals and all these other things are definitely important. But for me, the number one important thing is going to be mentorship, right? Now, remember just because somebody's very successful in this business, it doesn't mean they're going to give you the time, right? So these are things you have to talk to. So typically someone you're going to talk to on an interview, and if you're being interviewed with this person, you want to ask them like, are you going to be my mentor, right? And if maybe they're not, maybe they have mentors, maybe they have a system, maybe they have trainers, you don't know, right? They could have a lot of different things, but you want to ask these questions. You want to say, listen, are you going to be the one mentoring me? If they are the one mentoring me, what is your track record? Tell me about yourself. When did you get in the industry? How much do you produce? Do you have an agency? How many writing agents do you have? Don't get too caught up in the details and trying to figure out math. Don't be like, oh, you have 300 writing agents, but you only do X amount of production. It means a lot if you have 300 writing agents. That means a ton. So don't get too caught up in the details. However, ask these right questions, right? Have they ever had any success? Do you have any top producers, right? Do you have any record holders, right? It's one thing if they're a really, really good producer, and are they still, right? Do they still produce at a super high level? Because if somebody still produces at a super high level, are they going to have time to train you, right? That's a big question you want to ask them. I see, oh, you do $60,000 a month in production with your own pen. That's great. How many other agents do you have doing something like that? Half of that, a quarter of that. Do you have any time, right? Will you answer the phone if I call you on the weekend? Will you answer the phone in the evenings? Will you answer the phone during the day, right? Ask these questions. Have you helped anyone build an agency? Have you helped anyone not have to write business to make their money, right? That's building a business. There's a lot of people that will teach you how to sell insurance in this industry. Very few are going to teach you how to build a business, right? How to build a business where you don't have to produce the rest of your life, right? For me, if somebody's been producing at a high level and they've been in this business 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, to me, that's a red flag. Like, dude, you're a solopreneur. You're not even a business owner, right? You have to go to work still to get paid. I want someone that's to teach me how to get freedom. Like, how are you going to teach me how to get freedom if you haven't been able to figure it out yourself, right? So these are the questions you want to ask. Maybe they like producing. Maybe you have access to their upline who has freedom, right? So again, you want to find out, like, what is it that you want? What are your goals in this business? For me, when I got into the insurance industry, my goal was freedom. I wanted to do what I want, where I want, with whoever I want. I wanted to be able to do anything that I want, right? And that was my focus. That was my goal. That was up there. I thought about that every single day. So I had to figure out how to get to that. And I had to make sure when I was looking for an opportunity, it would align with that goal, right? I didn't want to be a top producer. I didn't want to be the number one agent in the country, right? I didn't want those things. I wanted to build a business that says, hey, you know what? It's New Year's and I'm going to go fly to an island last minute and do what I want. And my income's not going to change because I built a business that pays me no matter where I'm at, right? So again, looking at what your goals are and what's important to you. Track records of success, right? Asking those questions, right? So there's a couple things. There's a track record, like I said, for themselves as an agent. There's a track record themselves as a business owner, as an agency owner. There's a track record of their agents. And then did they help anyone build an agency, right? I've helped multiple people build 7-figure agencies. I've helped people cumulatively make $1 million, right? I help people make close to $500,000 a year, right? And remember, I've done this in a very short time, right? So you want to find someone that's done something like this, right? Or whatever your goal is. If your goal is to be a top producer, find a top producer that has time to help you be a top producer, right? But if you want to be a business owner, you're going to have to dig deeper with those questions. Another one, and this is the one I see thrown around a lot, independent versus captive, right? So there's a lot more to it, right? Independent versus captive, like that's cool. Just say, hey, are you independent? Are you captive, right? I used to tell people I was independent, but I chose to work with one carrier. But I found some stuff out the hard way, right? I found out that I did sign an agent agreement when I got started. And because of that agent agreement, I forfeit a lot of rights, right? So if I was a fully independent agent, I wouldn't have forfeited those rights. And the truth of the matter is, when I got my insurance license in 2018, none of that stuff mattered because, again, I was focused on the mentorship, right? Within those 6 years from 2018 to 2024, I was able to deposit $5 million. So that's a win there. But there's a lot of things that I missed out, right? I recently added other insurance carriers. And when I did, they let me go. They let me go. They never told me a reason they let me go. But because of their agent agreement, I believe they feel like they legally could have done that, right? So basically, I had a business that was creating me a 7-figure passive income that's gone, right? Again, these were great things to ask about in the beginning and understand. And if you don't plan on building a business, maybe these things don't matter to you, right? So you want to dig a little bit more into being independent versus captive. And again, what are your goals? If your goal is to be a top writing agent, you don't want to put a lot of skin in the game. You don't want to invest a lot of money. Like, you just want things to be handed to you and make a decent living. Maybe captive's the way. But let's say you want to build a business that you could sell one day, right? You're going to have to be independent for that, no matter what anyone tells you. Renewals. Let's say at some point you might want to leave and go somewhere else because you found a better opportunity, right? Because that does happen. And you want to take your renewals that you worked for because that's why you got in this business. Well, a lot of times if you're captive, you can't. Even if they tell you they can, remember, when you're working for a company or they're recruiting you, they're going to be one way. When you leave the company, they're going to be another way, right? So you want to look into those agent agreements, those contracts. You want to look into those things and make sure they align with your goal and what it is that you're trying to accomplish, right? So, and again, if you're happy with just being a producer, if you don't want to build anything you can sell, if you plan on, listen, I'm just going to be here the rest of my life, right? Even if something comes up better, I'm just not going to leave, then those things won't matter as much. Now, when you're independent, you also want to look and see what's the support like, right? There's a lot of companies that are independent, but they don't have a lot of mentorship. They might not have a lead program, right? If you're just getting started in this business, you need access to a good lead program. And we'll go into that a little bit later, but like that's going to be a necessity, right? Unless you have hundreds of people calling you, monthly, then looking for insurance, and you're going to need some type of lead program, right? So independent, you want to look at those things, right? If you really want to be independent, like I want to be independent, I want to be able to build a business I could sell. I want to own my book of renewals. Listen, I want to be an entrepreneur and I don't want anyone to be able to tell me how to run my business. I just need the tools to do it, right? So now you want to find find out what tools are available. Will you still get the same amount of mentorship? Are you still going to be able to get a good lead, right? Whether you're buying it from a lead vendor, whether it's a free lead, like, are you going to have some type of way to talk to people about insurance? Recruiting program, right? That's another one, right? Is there some type of recruiting program? Let's say I'm brand new. I want to learn how to sell insurance, but once I learn how to sell insurance, will you teach me how to build an agency? Will you help me find agents, right? Same thing, like leads to find agents. So you want to find out these things, right? And sometimes you might have to give up some for the other. For example, you can't go to somebody and say, listen, I want the top comp, but I need free leads and I need you to spend all day with me holding my hand, right? You can't want it all. And, a lot of times I see people, they do want it all. They're like, hey, could I find something with salary, free leads, and all these things, but I only want to work part-time. Like, listen, you're not even willing or available to give your full-time effort and you want a lot back, right? So you have to make sure these goals align with what you're doing, but also what they're trying to do, right? Because at the end of the day, you should be getting interviewed. I know for me, we're interviewing people and we turn away more people than we take because we're looking for people that align with our core values. We're looking for people that want to build businesses. We're looking for people that want to be independent, that can be free thinking and make decisions on their own. We're looking for people that are willing to invest in their business to build something big that you can sell one day if you chose to. So we're going to be very strict on our interview process. So when somebody comes to one of our interviews, it's like, what's in it for me? Do you do this, this, and this, and this, but I'm only willing to do this. I just, kindly let them know you're not going to be a good fit for this, right? And on the other side, if this person is just going to agree with everything you say, that's probably a place you need to run from. That would probably be underneath our red flags category. Again, don't get too caught up on the word independent versus captive. You got to dig in deeper and figure out like what do those actually mean and what is it that you're looking for? Do you want to own your book? Okay, cool. Can you be captive and own your book? Yes, you probably can. But if you're captive and you own your book and you leave, do they have certain restrictions on what you can do, who you can work with, who you can talk to, right? So you want to understand those things and those different processes and those rules, right? Lead program. So guys, lead program would be the second most important thing in my book, right? When I first started selling insurance, I knew I had zero experience. I knew I had no experience at all, and I had to learn how to sell insurance. And I knew the only way I'm going to learn how to sell insurance is to talk to people generally interested in insurance, right? I didn't want to spend all day looking for people generally interested in insurance because that's a really, really long process to learn. So I needed people interested. So to me, a lead program was really interesting to me. I was with a company that had lead financing. I thought that was great. Lead financing was great. You could get leads, come out of your commissions, and things changed. Things. It was a great situation for a little bit, and then I think it end up being a negative situation, right? Because you have a lot of agents that find out that there's a lead financing program, and they join you just to take some leads, and then write with other carriers or do something malicious with them, and then the debt from the leads go to the upline, right? So you want to watch out on some things, right? There's some things that are good for you as an agent, and there's some things that are good for you if you want to build a business, right? So for me, I always like to look at the entire picture and see which one of these aligns with my goal, right? Because for me, I rather have an agent be able to pay for leads that are good, that are delivered fast, then have to finance leads. Because if an agent has to finance leads, that means that they really can't make one sale to get started. So again, you want to look at these different things and see how they can make sense. There's also free lead programs out there, right? And I know there's a lot of talk, and I hear a lot of people say, free lead program, it's the new way. And again, that just depends on what your goal is, right? Because typically a free lead program, you're giving up a lot, right? So there's no such thing as a free lead. And eventually someday I'll probably launch a free lead program as well. But right now I'm working on hiring my builders, right? The people that want to build a business with me. And that's where my goal and my focus is. But when I do have a free lead program or somebody else has a free lead program, you're giving up compensation, right? You're typically going to give up a good amount of compensation. So the leads are really paid for through that compensation. And sometimes that's necessary. Sometimes mentally, right? Mentally, I can't get away. I can't get to, oh my God, I got to spend $1,000 on leads a week. It doesn't make sense. Where other people are like, okay, hold on, I spent $1,000 on leads and that will turn to 3,000 to 5,000. Great, how many thousands do you want, right? So again, just really, it's a mindset thing, right? A lot of times with a free lead program, there's going to be minimum to no renewals, right? You're probably going to be captive, right? If you leave and go somewhere, you'll probably be very restrictive on what you can do, and you'll probably lose any kind of money that you had, right? Do I blame them? I don't, right? Because they invested in leads to help you be successful, right? You know, I've had a lot of people that are really good producers on a free lead program interested in working with me. And my question to them really is like, how many leads did you work to get that amount of production? And how much did that cost, right? Was that $50,000 worth of leads? Was it $100,000? Was it $150,000 worth of leads? Are you willing to spend that kind of money on leads to get the same amount of production? Obviously, the math makes sense, or else they wouldn't be paying for your leads. But again, sometimes it's just a mindset, right? And just understanding that yourself. You know, what kind of leads do you have? And there's a lot of different types of leads out there. You know, what's the cost of leads? How are the leads delivered? You know, will I have to work old leads? If you guys have a surplus of leads, are you gonna make me pay for them, right? You know, things like that happen. You know, these are things you wanna ask about. You know, has that ever happened in the past? Has there ever been a time where I've been forced to pay for leads I don't want, right? Or something. So you gotta ask these questions. And is that right? No, I don't think it is, but you never know what's out there, and you always want to find out what is out there. I know for me, lead delivery is super important. For me, exclusivity, right? Are the leads exclusive? Are you going to take those leads and sell them to somebody else afterwards? If you're going through a lead vendor, how do I know the lead vendor is not selling the leads somewhere else, right? Because if the lead vendor is selling leads somewhere else, then they basically own your book of business because they have all your clients, right? Which is super, super dangerous in this business. So me, I'm very protective. It's the reason why I started a lead company that feeds my IMO, because I wanted to be able to protect my agent's book of business. I thought that was super important when I decided to start my own IMO and go out on my own. So leads are super important. You know, unless you want to be a friends and family kind of guy, I would definitely want to make sure there's leads. Make sure that there's going to be leads for you. I've talked to hired people before where they moved to a certain area and they just couldn't get leads in that area, right? They're field agents, and that's how we end up meeting. So you want to find out, again, what is your goal? Do you want to sell on the phone? Do you want to sell in the field? You want to sell in the field, lead's going to be a little bit harder than on the phone, right? You have a geographic territory that you have to work, you know, or you want to drive away from your house, right? If you live in a very rural area, you know, you'll probably have to drive far away to get some leads, right? Or maybe another state. So again, these are questions that you really want to ask. That's why I like the phone. The phone, you could literally work from anywhere. It doesn't matter. It's just a lot more freedom. So next thing is, do you want to be a telesales agent or do you want to be a field agent? Right? Those are two things. I started out in the field. My agency was all field agents. During COVID, we just changed real fast, right? It was just an overnight change. We just made a decision. We're going to start selling on the phone. We started selling on the phone. We had great success with it. We have not looked back. But maybe you do want to sell in the field. If you do, is there support for that, right? Is there leads for that? Is there training for that, right? Is there something that's going to support that goal that you have? If not, then that's not going to be the right opportunity. You have to find somebody that's selling predominantly in the field that has the infrastructure set up for you. Same thing if you want to be a telesales agent. If you want to be a telesales agent, make sure they got some telesales agents that are successful to help you be successful. Make sure they got leads for you. Make sure they got things set up for you, right? So like leads, CRM, dialing software, all these things are going to help you be a more successful telesales agent. And if that's your goal, then that's what you should do. And that's, you know, that's what we double down on. And all our tools are designed to help people be telesales agents or more successful telesales agent, and obviously more sales with less effort, right? That's the goal. Insurance carriers, right? So this is something that I learned myself. I used to sell with one carrier, and I used to feel that it was the best opportunity for me because it helped me duplicate to build a business. And I learned it wasn't as good as I thought it was, right? Again, I made some good money doing it, but now that I work with A-rated carriers and the clients recognize the carrier names, we're a lot more competitive in pricing. What I see is something I call the Costco effect, right? When you go to Costco, you end up buying this big giant thing of ketchup that you didn't plan on getting because you saw a good price. You end up buying things in bulk, right? You buy it in bulk because you see the value. So what I've noticed is having other carriers actually increases the premium. And since we get paid on premium, just that alone has given my agents a 31% pay raise, which I was super surprised to see. I wouldn't have believed it if I didn't see it with my own eyes. But when you have more carriers to work with, and listen, when I say more, I'm talking about 6, 7, 8, 4, 3, like it doesn't have to be 200 carriers, right? I don't believe in being a brand new agent and start working with someone and get contract with 200 carriers. You might as well go to the library and try to read every book that's in there, right? It just doesn't make any sense to me. But when you have 5 or 6 of the top carriers out there, it makes things a lot easier. You're way more competitive, way more competitively priced, and you have a lot more options. And the carriers, what's really cool about that is they always have their own incentives, right? So you have multiple carrier trips that you could win. You have multiple cash bonuses that you can win, right? You know, one thing I see my agents, they're always winning money. They don't even know why they're winning money, right? Because we work with a few really good carriers. So definitely decide on that, right? You know, is working with one carrier, is that going to be good? It's definitely easier to learn one carrier, but just like what I do is we started out with 6 carriers. I told everyone, hey, learn this one first, right? And I thought it was very important to learn one carrier and then move on. And we had a ton of success doing that. You know, it's a little bit, maybe when you're building, it's a little less risky, right? To have one carrier. But if you really want to think about it and you want to be a professional in this business and you want to build a legitimate business in this business, you're going to want to work with the top rated carriers out there, right? It's a no-brainer. It really is. And I've definitely slept on that for majority of my career, right? From 2018 to 2024. But hey, gain a lot of experience and learn about those different things. So as far as these are some great bullets. Again, you know, some things where I made mistakes is, you know, I started this business. I was focused on the mentorship. I was focused on the lead program. Those two things. Throughout the years, the mentorship just wasn't there anymore. And then the lead program changed, right? So things changed, and things do change in opportunities, right? And if things change, that's okay. You know, just like people change jobs and people change houses, it's okay to change to a different opportunity. And sometimes you got to take a step backwards, right? I took a huge step backwards, but you just have to make sure when you take a step backwards that the reward that you can gain is worth it, right? So you don't want to take a lateral move. You want to make sure that you're moving in the direction that you want to go to accomplish your goals. So for me, going from a single carrier to multiple carriers, going from, you know, it was basically, let's call it a disguised captive opportunity to, you know, fully independent opportunity. There's a lot of pros and cons I had to weigh out. But when I finally made the move, I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe I took so long to do this. It was a night and day difference, which really helps me set up this video for you and help you with these different bullets that I've learned along the way of what is important and what to look for. You know, I do have a Facebook group, We Are Insurance Agents. You can find us at weareinsurancegents.com to get to the Facebook group. And it's a neutral territory, no recruiting at all, but we do a training weekly in there. I try to post at least daily in there, answer as many questions as I can. So it's a super safe place to go to if you're an insurance agent and you want to be successful and you need some mentorship or some questions, or you're just not sure. I'll try to answer every question I see in there, as long as they're reasonable questions, right? What does it say? Every question is a good question. No such thing as a bad question, but sometimes there are bad questions. But yeah, if you go there, leave some questions, definitely answer them for you. Remember, it's a no recruiting territory, so if I see you there recruiting, you will get banned right away. I don't even give warnings for it. There's no reason to. We're all professionals. If there's anything you got that you like in this video, please put it in the comments. What are some things that you're looking for? Put that in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, definitely like, subscribe, and share it, right? Share it with somebody else that's trying to find a good opportunity. My goal is to really help, and my vision is to help as many insurance agents as I can, really focus on helping my team, which I still am, right? I want to help my team build some businesses, but I'm definitely going to open my doors to more insurance agents. And as I learn these things going through this industry and helping people, I definitely want to share some of the successes that I've had, because this has been a great business for me. It's really changed my life, and a lot of people that I got to coach and mentor. Those those stories, right, that I help people create, that's the currency that I gain from this industry, right? So I want to help create more success stories. So again, if you enjoyed the video, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, throw some comments down there. Let us know what are some things you're looking for an opportunity. If you ever need anything, find me at the We Are Insurance Agents Facebook group, and I'll be glad to help you.